Well, we do have to move on. Following that loss, I want to get to spring training so I can do all the boring stuff off stream. So, first and foremost, we got to find out who's going to win the World Series this year. Dodgers, Phillies, Athletics, and Tigers, as Oakland have finally turned the page. The Dodgers are swept by the Phillies. In the NLCS, there will be a new champion this year as Oakland and Detroit go to Game 7. Tigers and Phillies in the 2030 World Series, and the Philadelphia Phillies, after beating St. Louis in 4, sweep LA, and sweep Detroit, the Phillies back on top of the baseball world. Without Jaron Duran as well. I mean, he was injured, but Shane McClanahan, Giancarlo Ibar. They had some really solid pitching options. Aiden Miller at third base. Good team. Good team. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. Good team. The Phillies get it done. Your World Series MVP, Aiden Miller, who had himself a fantastic 4 games. The 25-year-old, shout out to Big Mike, packing all the shit. Jesus Christ, he's still got contract control, too. Philly gets it done as we move to the off-season. And looks like some staff contracts are up. Griffin Canning has actually retired due to that head fracture he sustained at the end of last season. So, Griffin Canning, no longer on your team. Never want to see someone's career end due to a head fracture, for fuck's sake. Chris, good morning. Tony, a lot of teams use multiple closers, but only use like one of them as the actual closer within the game. JT Realmuto is gone. Made it all the way to the final just to lose to his former team. Any Hall of Famers this year? No Hall of Famers. Dude, Hall of Famers seem to be a rarity. So chat needs a new farm director. I mean, Caleb Adams makes the most sense. +3 power, especially at cores. It is worth overspending to try to get this guy. For myself, I need a hitting coach and a pitching coach. I mean, you talked about changing out the manager. I mean, you could if you wanted to. For the record, you would still have to pay them all the money. So, yeah, you probably don't want to do that. Chris, I haven't had a day that long in a long time, and I don't regret it. I need a hitting coach and a pitching coach. It'll be Antonio Cortez that I look to target here. And for the pitching coach, Stephen Vogt, Manuel Brito. Go for Manuel Brito. So chat, your decisions. First and foremost, Max Clark. 26 years old, needs a deal. A look at his numbers over the past few years. He is a very good defender as well. Based on those stats, his defense, and the fact that he wants 14, really 15 million for a year, or closing in on $20 million. Do you still agree to keep Max Clark? Do you still agree to keep Max Clark? You know what? We will, and again, he's 26 years old. Could go for a 4-year deal to bring him to age 30. Any longer, he might start to decline. He gains more interest the shorter the term of the deal is. So the shorter the deal, the less money you have to spend. The longer the deal, the more you have to spend. So that is the question. for Max Clark. So what it'll be is let go 1, 2, 3, or 4 based off of what I'm seeing in chat. Let's see what you guys want to do for Max Clark. What is the term for Maximilian Clark? What is the deal? Looking like it's going to be a 3-year deal. Who said let go? Hey, I didn't vote for it. I put it up there, though. Oh, you're mad because someone voted for it. All right, 3-year deal it is. Well, if you go for that 3-year deal, max interest is a $22 million contract. At that point, I mean, you could qualify him and see if he leaves. Not that you'd want the picks, but I mean, a 3-year deal, you're talking about a max interest offer of $22 million. You have no way to keep him otherwise, other than to go max interest to try and keep him interested. So that is max interest right there. $21.8 million over 3 years. Any disagreements on the deal? That the contract being sent to Max Clark. Going once, going twice. Sold. Ian Hamilton, who you guys barely fucking used in the playoffs. A look at his numbers in the regular season. This year was rough compared to what he's used to doing, as you can see there. He is coming off of a rough year. He's 35 years old. The team option would be for $6 million. Now, obviously, you can decline the option and still try to sign him for less. But honestly, he might ask for more. What do you want to do with Ian Hamilton? Obviously, the team option would be for the 1 year. What are you going to do with Ian Hamilton? Team option, all right, team option on Ian Hamilton. Ryan Feltner. If you can add quirks to creative players. I actually haven't checked. You know what? That is a good enough question. Dude, Big Mike, save some shit for the rest of us. That is a good enough question that I actually want to check that right now and know the answer to that. Chat, we'll get back to our off season in a moment. Give me 1 second. I need to go to roster control, create player, Joe Random. Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it for quirks. Yeah. It'd be nice if you could. Definitely. I mean, especially too, you talk about like, people, if they do flashback rosters, like obviously you want to give Barry Bonds like every fucking quirk under the sun if you were doing like a 2002 roster. So Ryan Feltner, just to go back, look at his ERAs over the last 5 years. A look at the FIP ratings over the last 5 years. He's a below average pitcher. An innings eater, but a below average pitcher. He wants $4 to $6 million. $4 to $6 million. What do you want to do with Feltner? Let him go. Let him go. All right, no deal for Feltner. Brusdar Graterol. It would be $5.6 million. He is down to a 67. You guys signed him. He immediately fucking gave up in terms of trying. That said, his numbers haven't been horrific, but they also haven't been great either. All right, chat's making the cuts. Graterol is out, as is Ryan Feltner. Max Clark gets that deal. That's it for now. For myself, I have plenty of decisions I have to make. I will definitely be letting go of Bobby Dahlbeck. I didn't give him too many chances to play it last year, but he is in fucking free fall. I have Elvin Garrison, who's just about ready anyway. Brooks Baldwin wanted $6 million to be a backup. He's gone. Yoan Moncada is starting to drop. At 35 years old, he's not bad, but now that he's starting to decline, now's the time for me to get rid of him. Yeah, I don't even want to pay him $5 million to be a backup. I'd rather get somebody cheaper. So, Yoan Moncada, after all this time, see you later. Colson Montgomery. Below average at the plate for what I prefer. And obviously, a slugging percentage is never going to be great. He is good defensively. Remember when Moncada was seen as a can't-miss prospect for Boston? I sure do. Chris Sale trade. Montgomery wants about $10 million. He is pretty much every year going to be a Gold Glove candidate, but he is just not good at the plate. I mean, Bayadaris isn't ready, but I do now have Fritz Grant behind him. Can't believe I'm doing it, but to be honest, I'm going to let go of Colson Montgomery. I don't think he's good enough at the plate. The defense is nice, but I want someone who can do both. So I'm going to drop Dahlbeck. I'm dropping Baldwin as my backup second baseman. I'm dropping my starting third baseman and shortstop. Eloy Jimenez, I have a team option on for $8.5 million. He is still doing pretty well, but I have Jordan Walker in that position now. I know I'm not going to pay him $8.5 million. I'm going to decline that option, but what does he want? No, honestly, about the same. He could still be a good fourth option for me in left. Who's in my outfield? I got Walker, Dominguez, Zavala, Fletcher, Sheets, Galloway. Eloy, I like you, buddy, but I'm going to save money. Donnie, what's going on, man? I'm going to be saying goodbye to Eloy Jimenez as well. I'm letting go of a good amount of the core here. I'd love to sign Jimenez because attribute-wise, he's still great, but 25 home runs last year. Just how the hell am I going to play him? Fletcher, Dominguez, Walker. Like, I guess it would count him as a DH if I kept him. Shout out to you for the drops, right? I got nothing in my own drop pack, so I wish you luck. The problem is Galloway is ready, but man, that guy's all defense. I'm not allowed to move him to first base. If it played Walker at first, that'd be okay. If Jimenez is my DH, that should be okay. Honestly, I think I am going to keep. I just don't want to get rid of him. I just don't want to. I'm going to have to overspend to keep him, but he was good last year. I got plenty of money. If he accepts it, I'll take him on a one-year deal. Dominguez, who I traded for last year, his potential has dropped. He was pretty mid at the plate. He is good defensively, but pretty mid at the plate. Am I going to let go of Dominguez? Fletcher and Sheets, their deals are both up as well. I got to be honest, I wasn't really happy with Dominguez. He wasn't doing that much better than what Zavala was doing. Zavala was actually better at the plate. And Zavala's almost as good defensively. He just doesn't have as good of an arm. I'm going to let go of Dominguez. As crazy as that is, just, I don't really care about overalls. I care about someone who's getting it done. And I'm going to guess he wants a good amount of money. Yeah, he's not worth $14 million to me. He's just not. I'd rather go with Zavala and spend the big money on somebody else, have more options available. Dominguez, you're gone, buddy. I'm letting you go. I'm not even going to qualify him because I don't know if anyone's going to sign him necessarily. I think he'd take the $22 million. Dominic Fletcher. Still doing well for me. I'm willing to overspend to keep Dominic Fletcher for a year. I obviously don't want to sign guys like him too long a term. Gavin Sheets, we got a team option at $4 million. To be honest, I'm going to exercise that. So I'm going to let go of Dominguez, Montgomery, Moncada, Baldwin, and Dahlbeck. I got a team option on Edwin Diaz at $6.5 million. He was abysmal last year. He is now willing to take a cheaper deal. But to be honest, he was so bad last year. Yeah, he and Fairbanks both, to be honest, I'm letting them go. They just weren't good enough. Garrett is now 31. He's still solid depending on the money. Go with a 2-year deal on a club option. $7 million bucks. I'm letting go of a lot of people, man. It's a risk. It's always a risk to let go of an 88 overall player and an 86 overall player, but they're just not good enough. So we'll see what happens here. Caleb Adams is on as your farm director. I have my new hitting coach and my new pitching coach. For you guys, Clark has accepted the contract. Feltner and Gratterall are out. For me, Fletcher, Crochet, and Jimenez are back. And this is the talent pool that I'm letting go of this year. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth it. So we're off to free agency. So we'll look at chat situation first. Again, you get one pitcher, one position player. At catcher, you're good. You have Toby Hoff in the system now. You don't really need a catcher in this instance. I mean, maybe a third stringer in case of injury. That's about it. First base, you're good. You don't need a damn thing at first base. Second base, you're good. You don't need a damn thing at second base. Third base, you're good. Don't need a damn thing at third base. Shortstop, backup shortstop is still a need. Unless you want to continue to have it be Cameron Cawley, you need a backup shortstop behind Volpe. In the outfield, Langford, Oyster, Fernandez, Clark, Montgomery, Buck Wild, Jordan Beck, former Bat Boy. For starters in the outfield, you're good. To be honest, the biggest thing you need is a backup shortstop. And then in terms of pitching, I mean, the bullpen let you down, but your starters aren't exactly lights out either. So it should be take a look at the overall situation. You are ready to graduate these two, though, to the major leagues, and Rick Vaughn's not that far behind either. Absolute fireballer that he is with low control. So let's take a look at what's out there. Again, you don't need a catcher, but Alejandro Kirk. Ethan Salas, at 24 years old, is available. San Diego did not sign him. He's been mid. Damn, he's been mid at the plate. Great defensively, but he's been mid at the plate. Freddie Furman's out there. Austin Wells, Sean Murphy. First base, you don't need one. Nick Prado's the only good one. High level, at least. Second base, 32-year-old Andreas Jimenez. Miguel Vargas, Ahmed Rosario, Ronnie Mauricio. There's nobody too crazy there. Third base, not that you need anybody here, but Jacob Wilson, Brian Hayes, David Fry. Shortstops. Well, it's not a backup, but Jackson Holliday is on the market for the first time. As is Jordan Lawler. O'Neal Cruz is also out there. Mason Wynn at 29. Colson Montgomery, who I let go of. Luis Angel Acuna. Ryan Bliss also out there. Obviously, if you were to look for a backup shortstop, you'd be looking at a guy like 77 or lower. Jose Caballero, he's 34. Good utility guy. Has good speed, good stealing. Jorge Mateo, who you guys didn't sign last year, is also a tremendous utility option. Great pinch runner, steal threat. Those are your best bets. Caballero, honestly, Jorge Mateo is your best bet. Caballero's a bit better at the plate now. But how old's Peraza? Peraza's, you could go for him. He's 30. That's a risk to give a guy like that a one-year deal, though, to be the backup. You could, though. You'll have the money for it, but not quite as many utility positions. Tommy Edman, big-time utility player. hit or miss at the plate. He's also wanting $8 million. He's going to want over $10 million to be a utility player for you guys. And that could take away from what you could offer somebody else. Mateo wants half of what he wants. Yeah, you go up to 5.5. That's a max interest on Mateo. And you have a good depth player. Caballero, for the record, wants a little bit less. But he's also slower. And then for shits and giggles, Jackson Merrill is also out there in left field. Peter Curto Armstrong, PCA, is out there. As is Dominguez, who I let go of. Drew Gilbert at 30. Dylan Carlson. Andy Paez and right. Any disagreements on filling the team need of picking up Jorge Mateo? The old George Mateo to be that backup shortstop that you desperately need. Any disagreement? Going once. Going twice. 1-year deal for Mateo. Sold. In terms of the pitchers, for relievers, 36-year-old David Bednar, coming off of 2 very strong seasons. Tanner Scott, great 2 years ago now. 2030, not so great. Did well against you guys in the playoffs, but wasn't so great. Is also a lefty. Alex Lang was okay. Edwin Diaz was not so hot for me. Evan Phillips was not so hot. Pete Fairbanks sucked for me. Jose Leclerc was terrible last year. In terms of actual relievers, Alex Vesia, what do you got for you? Alex was fantastic last year and is a lefty. Trevor Rogers, solid last year, also a lefty and a year younger. Jose Suarez was fantastic last year, also a lefty. Trevor Stefan, not so hot last year. Genesis Cabrera, not so hot last year. Josh Winkowski was okay last year, but he's a righty. And then Jose Hernandez, also solid last year as a lefty. So, I mean, Hernandez, Vesia, Rogers, Jose Suarez, all options. Vesia wants about $6 million a year, $7 million a year for Rogers, $5 a year for Suarez, $3 a year for Hernandez. If you were to go for a starter, I know how you guys feel about, the whole compensation picks. Paul Skeens is out there as a free agent. He's been okay. He hasn't been particularly great. He's been okay. Not playing up to his overall. Dylan Cease has been solid. Christ, maybe I have to bring him back. Andrew Painter, it's been okay. Luis Garcia, not bad either. Chat seems pretty dead set on Jose Suarez. You will have competition from the Twins. Is he in decline? No, he's not. He's actually getting better. So in theory, if you do your typical option, $6.9 million a year, club option for the second year, max offer to try to outduel the Twins. Any disagreement on this deal for Jose Suarez? Any disagreement? Is that the deal that chat wants? Lock it in. Okay. So your 2 offers, Jose Suarez to address the bullpen, Jorge Mateo for the depth. It's pretty good. Pretty good for you guys. Let's see. For the 40-man, time to fix this up a little bit. You need to add our old Rusty T. Shackelford to the 40. Cash considerations at third base. Big shout out to Beefcake for the follow. Welcome in. See Buck Wild in center field. needs to be added to that 40-man. Ash Ketchum, you might as well. And I think that's it. I mean, Rocket Power's there, but I doubt he gets claimed. In terms of arbitration, Yanquiel Fernandez has been abysmal at the plate for you guys in the playoffs. He's been very hit or miss in the regular season. You could technically bring the 28-year-old back for about $2.6 million. But is he even worth it to you guys? If you were to drop him, you'd have Langford, Oyster, Clark, and Montgomery in the outfield. Maybe even Jordan Beck. That might be a case of just letting go of a guy who hasn't been performing. It sucks to let go of somebody when you would love to be able to trade him and at least get something. But as we've seen, we have both had an incredible amount of trouble getting rid of certain players via trades. It's been few and far between. Anybody arguing to keep Yanquiel Fernandez? Going once on letting him go. Going twice. Fernandez is going to go. For the pitchers, Berea. He is declining at 34. Not so hot in the regular season. Not so hot in the playoffs. If you were to keep him, it could be for under $800K a year. So he might be good for AAA and depth purposes. Or do you just want to get him the hell out of there? I would probably keep him for AAA purposes and just not play him in the majors, but I mean, he's dirt cheap. He's dirt cheap. You don't have to play him. Keep for depth. That's a good decision on your part, chat, for the record. That's a good decision. So 780K, go to arbitration. That's a fine deal. Jake Bird at age 56. Can let Jake Bird go. Still has crazy velocity and break, though. That old man can gun it. But yeah, he's been in the minors for you guys for 5 years. I mean, at that point, like, he's not even that much better than the people that you have otherwise, so. I mean, you could sign him for the rest of your career. Age 56, overall 56. Guys, streamer misspoke. We have to point it out. We have to let him know. I know what he meant, but we must point it out. You toxic fucks. Anyway, starters, Chase Dollander. So Dollander was supposed to be, like, the guy for you guys. But looking at his numbers, he's been average. For a near 90 overall player, he's been average to below average. Now, here's the thing with Dollander. You can get him for absolute dirt cheap price of $2.9 million. So I would understand not wanting to let him go because of that. But at the same time, again, he hasn't really performed up to snuff. So I imagine, again, you guys will be re-signing him. But something to think about, knowing that he just hasn't lived up to his end of the bargain. But, yeah. Worth it to bring him back for that. But, again, at the same time, he hasn't been great. Ryan Rollison. 33 years old, had a rough postseason. Was good in the regular season, though. He was pretty good in the regular season. He's coming off of his best season to date. It'd be $2.9 million through arbitration, though. Do you feel like Rollison is worth $2.9 million? Or is he the guy to just say, fuck it, get rid of him? That's your last big decision to make. Berea and Dollander. Is Rollison also getting a contract? Well, what do you think? Keep him. All right. You know, 1 year deal at 2.9, just to get him about as cheap as you can. There we go. Let's get those other contracts in there for your younger players, or depth players in the case of like Grant Levine. Got Speller, lift big, hit small. Oh, major, doesn't it? It's incredibly sad, but it's the reality that we live in. Also, hi. Hello. Nieve wasn't yours. Cash considerations. Halpern and Bichette aren't yours. Doug Fister. Let's see. Becerra, Ricky Ruiz aren't yours. Buck Wild you got to keep. I mean, Major, I shared some of my... Major, you know what? If you want a place to vocalize those, come on the podcast. You, me, Sin, and Endo. Let's talk about the fall of NHL esports together. I think it would be a blast. Hit me up on Twitter or Discord. Let me know what your schedule is looking like what days and what times you're available typically. We'll make it work. You might not be the only person I message to be like, hey, let's talk about our experiences in this crazy scene, you know? Especially with the attention it's getting right now. Let's see. Tito from Rocket Power. Ash Ketchum. Can't hit the zone. Can you believe he hasn't developed yet? Dick Handler. Oh, Major, I know. We updated the graphics a little bit. Look at this. Look at this. Look at how pretty this is. Look at how fucking pretty this is. That moose has sunglasses, god damn it. Again, I told the story behind it. My mom in storage found my favorite stuffed animal from childhood. And oh well, Major, in case you didn't notice. In case you didn't notice the T logo, look at the moose's antlers. Look at the antlers. That logo's going nowhere. Anyway, my mom found my favorite stuffed animal from when I was a kid. My grandmother gave it to me as an infant. And I got him right here. Look at the son of a bitch, a moose with sunglasses. It's perfect. It's perfect. So there you go. Why not? And it ties in so well with, I mean, I'm like the 1 or 2 ranked streamer from Maine, which is like being the 15th smartest person in your class. But hey, I'm not dead last. So honestly, like my mom was super happy when she saw the redesign. I haven't gotten to show my grandmother yet, but I think my mom already told her. So, you know, it's a family nut. You know, it's a family nut. I'd love to know who's first. I haven't found a good resource to be like, who's the top streamer by state? At least not one that looks to be accurate. But I'm very intrigued. Like, I have to be, right? Like, my state has like 1 million people in it. That's about it. Like, I live in a big state that has no people. So, you'd like to think I'd be up there, but you can never know for sure. I'm going to quit Twitch and YouTube if I finally earn a Wikipedia page. That's about it. But, all right, there you go. All of your contracts are in. What the hell am I going to do? What the hell am I going to do? I don't need a catcher, technically. Although I could use an upgrade at catcher. First base is Michael Bush and an Elvin Garrison behind him. Bush was okay this year. Second base is Jacob Gonzalez. That's going to be kind of the same note as catcher. Third base, I need a third baseman. I need a third baseman. I really don't want to head into the season with Wes Kath as my starting third baseman. I'm okay with Fritz Grant being my starting shortstop, even though he doesn't have much of an arm. Left field, we got Walker, Jimenez, Zavala, Galloway. I really don't need any outfielders. And then obviously pitching, it's just get the best player I can. So for me, if I were to go for a catcher, it would be that Ethan Salas option. He scares me for how bad he might be at the plate, but man, if he develops that aspect of his game, because he's only 24, he could be insane. Second base, bunch of veterans. Third base, Jacob Wilson and a bunch of veterans. Shit. Ethan Salas might be my guy. Technically, I could go for Jackson Holiday and just hope that it plays him in the position I'd want it to play him. O'Neal Cruz wouldn't be that bad either. I don't know if it would play him where I want him to. It's $30 million a year for Jackson. Tough to say he's not worth it at the plate, but he also declined last year. That's really scary. Jackson Merrill at 27, I'm not convinced. Pico Armstrong, I'm not. Yeah, I got my guy. I'm going to go for Ethan Salas. Looks like a Gold Glove winning catcher. Younger guy. Ooh, he wants a lot of money, though. Fuck, he wants a lot of money. Shit. He was an all-star last year. That's just so much money to give up for someone who's not a significantly better catcher than who I already have. My other two catches are okay. They're not quite Gold Glove caliber. Fuck. It's another situation where I'm ready to give someone a big contract, but there's no one who matches the needs for what I'm looking for here. And that's not the first time it's happened to me, and I think that's a big part of what the hell's holding me back. I might just need a filler third baseman for the year to improve on Kath. That's if anybody fits the bill. And Alec Boehm was terrible last year. Tyler Freeman was okay. Fuck. Man, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do here. What a shit spot to be in. It's either I overpay Ethan Salas and hope that he's as good as he could be. I don't want to risk paying Jackson Holiday because he's 27 and apparently already getting worse. In terms of a pitcher, again, Bednar was okay last year. Bednar wouldn't be too bad. Ewan after Suarez, Alex Vesia was pretty good last year. If I were to go for a starter, 35-year-old Shane Bieber, solid last year. Dylan Cease was good last year. Painter, Luis Garcia. Okay. Luis Garcia. 16 million bucks or so. Bring Dylan Cease back to Chicago. Since I didn't even get a chance to use him. He wants 17 to 16 million. Or Vesia. Do I need a reliever or a starter more? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tough call. I mean, another tremendous starter wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I do have a logjam of talent at starter. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4 with Reagan, 5, and then have like, another reliever might not be the worst because the bullpen really fucking struggled last year. Alex Vesia is going to be my target here. I am going to overspend to get him on $8 million a year with that extra year. Ethan Salas, I'm going to give it a try, buddy. I'm going to give it a try. I want the ability to opt out after 1 year. But I am willing to back up the Brinks truck at $25.5 million a year to see if you're the guy. And if not, I can get the fuck out of this deal. So, Salas and Vesia are my targets this year. Do have to fix up the 40-man really quickly, and then we'll see who ends up where. So let's see. Xavier Reagan needs to be on the 40-man. If somebody claims Altman and Gillespie, whatever the fuck, it's fine. Wes Kath, you're going to have to be on the 40-man. Burke, Nastrini. As far as I can tell, I'm okay. We do have to do the typical get rid of the shit veterans that we brought in for both of our teams. I'll switch back over to the Rockies and do that in a minute. Let's see. Burke, Nastrini, Ramos. If someone claims Ramos, whatever. I can't imagine I'm going to lose anybody. I wish you could scroll through the full fucking thing, but I can't imagine I'd lose anybody that I'd actually care about there. All right, let's see. Jefferson Caro is my current starting catcher. I can get him a $3.3 million on arbitration. I have to do that just in case this other guy that's going to replace him as the starter this year isn't quite up to snuff. Corey Lee, if I can get you cheap enough, I'll do it. 2.6 for a AAA level catcher. It's going to be my fourth choice this year. To be honest, I'll give it a shot because I have the money. 2.6 million. I have just been... He has been robbing me blind for millions. Let's see. Ronnie Santos. You were terrible last year, but you're still young. We might be able to make it work. 4.4 million, my man, is the deal. Jairo Iriarte. I can let Iriarte go. Well, yeah, get him for dirt cheap, see if I can trade him. Got the money to waste for now, because I haven't backed up the Brinks truck for anybody yet. Still haven't found my one frickin' star. Austin Cox. How cheap are you? 1.4. I'll do that. All right. That's good there. And then in terms of the other contract offers, Altman, pay you way too much. Erdman, Elvin Garrison, who's getting closer to being Major League ready. Chavez, Wes Brown, Samuel Rodriguez, Adam O'Neill, Corey Norman. Gonna try to keep Kurt Williams, Brian Duncan. I just got to keep holding on for dear life and hope that you guys don't win, because some of my younger projects are getting closer to finally being Major League ready. I'm playing more of a long game than I wanted to, but it might actually work out. We'll see. How the fuck do I still have Agustin Cardona? Joe Pittman, David Walker, Chris Drew, Chris Galloway, Yoelqui Cespedes, Jan Angelis, William Diaz is also ours. Joshua Saito and Nelson Johnson. For the pitchers, Andreas Zapata. We'll go the 3-year renewable deal. Davis Kingman, who's probably going to be in my freaking bullpen this year. All of these guys can go. And for the starters, Xavier Reagan, Andreas Marquez, Adrian McGee. We got Jason McDermott. Could offer him a little bit more. Mr. Mize, San Dimas, and Edgar Salazar. All right, I think we are just about good to see what the free agent situation is going to look like here in a moment. 40-man wise, I'm going to take Baroa out. If he gets claimed, that's fine. I'm going to take Cardona out. If he gets claimed, that's fine. Even Steven Lantigua, if he gets claimed, that's fine. We got to go back over to you guys. Go to the lowest overall dudes just to make sure it's not going to clog up a roster or anything like that. And Martin Nieves is the last guy. For the 40-man, are there any obvious cuts for you guys? Michael Prosecki, Cameron Cawley, to be honest. Lucas Gilbreth. Even Berea. I mean, these are guys that you can risk to waivers. If you lose them, you lose them. And if you don't, cool. But at the very least, you make sure you got room in like the Rule 5. So let's see what happens here. Again, Jose Suarez, Jorge Mateo, Ethan Salas, Alex Avicilla are the targets. You did lose Prosecki to the Astros, which again is fine. He was a AAA player. You also lost a 36 overall first baseman. David Bednar gets a 1-year deal from the Cardinals. It looks like Mateo signed. Yeah, Mateo did sign for you guys. So we continue to wait. Did sign Ethan Salas for 2 years. Andrew Painter gets 5 years from the Mets. Got Alex Vesia as well. So I got my 2 targets. You guys landed Jose Suarez. So we got each of the targets that we wanted. Alejandro Kirk gets 5 years from the Angels. Jackson Holiday, 6 years, $31 million a year from the Kansas City Royals. So he stays in the AL. And poor Baltimore, they just weren't able to keep any of their stars. I'm a Mac. He's a PC. Needs to be on the 40-man. Former Bat Boy as well. Let's continue to get rid of these shit overall players that are just filler, just to make sure that there's nobody on the Rule 5 that you got to care about. Riley Pint, Bat Boy, Take the Wheel. I hate how it does that, man. There's always a couple of guys hiding that you might not want to lose. Grant Levine, Orangello. Okay, if you lose Grant Levine, it's okay because he is behind Hunter Goodman. And now you have Rory Kearns, so that's not too bad. I think from there you're all right. Shortstop Jonathan Ornelas can go. Okay, I think you guys are okay from there. Yeah, we're looking good. We're looking good. Love how the AI claim just dreadful players for no reason. Jordan Lawler gets 5 years from Detroit. So the AL looking good here. Let's see, Miguel Vargas, 5 years in Pittsburgh, $12 million. PCA, oh, that would sting in real life. PCA on his way to St. Louis for 9 years. What a traitor. Trevor Rogers gets 2 years from Atlanta. Jackson Merrill, 5 years from the Rays. O'Neal Cruz, 4 years in Baltimore. Paul Skeens is still out there. Tyler Soderstrom, 5 years from Texas. Freddie Furman gets a year in Baltimore. Jimenez goes to the Angels for 4 years. Colson stays in the American League. He goes to Toronto. I wish him the best of luck. I do. The O's did win a World Series. They won one and then it blew up. So the draft lottery, chat, will be picking 23rd, but I have a 1.8% chance of moving up. We'll see what happens. See if there's any lottery luck for the old White Sox. Not holding my breath on that. Oh, yep. Pick number 10. Dude, Cincy won the first overall pick again. Holy hell. Pete Rose is back and fixing games. Gambling it all away. So I'll be picking 10th. Chat will be picking 23rd in the upcoming draft. The Cincy Oilers, right? All right, the Rule 5 draft. Obviously, again, we have to auto-sim it, just see what the hell happens, if anything. Ryan Nelson gets 2 years from the Dodgers. Paul Ski, oh my God. From Pittsburgh to the world champion Phillies, Paul Skeens, 9 years in Philadelphia. Is that a bigger betrayal, or is PCA a bigger betrayal? Sheesh. Oh, man, they also landed Dominguez. Well, I might have just did Philly a huge favor by letting go of Dominguez, but I wasn't impressed. Drew Gilbert, 3 years in Chicago. Jacob Wilson gets 5 years in Oakland. Players just saying, fuck your rivalry. Cabrian Hayes goes to Oakland for a year. David Fry gets a year in New York. Rosario a year in Tampa. We are almost to spring training. The last thing we need to do here. Let's take a look at what chat's team will be. Obviously, again, off stream, I'll fill out all the randomness, but pretty straightforward at catcher. It's Dinger and Drew. Your new favorite buddy cop. First base, Goodman behind Manzardo. I mean, makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Second base. Again, chat, you do have a choice. Either I'm a Mac, he's a PC, or Short King. Who do you want to run as the backup second baseman behind Pablo Sanchez Dos? What do you think? What do you think? Short King or he's a PC? What do you got? Cauley? You could run Cauley too, honestly. That's not the worst. You know what? We'll throw it to a vote real quick. Although most people say I'm a Mac, he's a PC to be the backup. You know, we'll throw it to a quick vote. Will it be PC, Short King, or Cauley as the second base backup? Waluigi. I mean, he's getting there. He's almost major league caliber. He's got about 8 overall points to go. Third base will be another vote as well. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with these particular votes. Shortstops, straightforward with Mateo and Volpe. 2, 3, 4. So Buck Wild can go down. Former Bat Boy can go down. Jordan Beck or Benny Montgomery. I imagine you guys would choose Beck. I mean, he's older and technically worse. Balco is still in the org, yeah. All right, so at second base, I'm a Mac. He's a PC. Will be the backup. Third base, who is the backup behind Brett Beatty? Will it be Bernabel, Tug McGroin, or cash considerations? Bernabel would have to go through waivers. Tug would not. So keep that in mind, even though players most likely don't get claimed in spring training. And it just makes sense to send down Jordan Beck and risk him on waivers. I mean, again, Benny's better. See, who do you guys want as a backup at third base behind Brett Beatty? Looks like Tug McGroin is going down. Will it be cash considerations or warming Bernabel? Cash would probably end up being the AAA starter. Tug would be down in double. I mean, leaving Bernabel. Again, Bernabel would have to go through waivers, too. He'd likely clear, but no guarantee. Close votes, but we're going to call it in favor. Yep, there you go. Warming Bernabel gets the win. So Cash will go down. In terms of the pitchers, 1, 2... 1, 2, 3. So Berea's down. Take the Wheel goes down. Astros Trash Can. It's going to have to go through waivers, but not a major loss. Ash Ketchum's got to go down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 with Shackelford. You could technically send down Santillan, who was terrible last year. Honestly, that's not the worst idea. This guy was terrible last year. Drop down Santillan. Go with Moorhead and Shackelford. Give them a chance as your 6. And then for the starters, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Again, Rollison. Let's take a look here. Rollison was solid last year. So the backup, Orangelo. I mean, it makes sense to have Oren. Probably not as the long reliever, but send him down. Let him get the starts in AAA. Mezzet as well can be sent down one more time. I think you guys are pretty good. So just looking at Chat's Rockies here. Dollander, Miller, Brown, Whitley, and Rollison with McMahon as the long reliever. The rest of the bullpen is Doval, Longwood, Shackelford, Miller, Hamilton, and Jose Suarez. In terms of the lineup, Dose, Montgomery, Oyster, Manzardo, Beatty, Langford, Volpe, Clark, and Dinger McPissmissile. That's a playoff roster again. It has to be. I would be shocked if it's not. The big question is, how far can they go? You need the star players to consistently show up come playoff time. You need the pitching to not absolutely blow it. If you get that, I do genuinely believe that could be a World Series winning roster and that this could be our final season. I don't know what we do after this, but it could be the final season.